Let's learn.
I love that.
That's what I need to do.
I might just have that as the open. Hello.
You're going to get the shaky thinking, whoa, that's me waking myself up.
I've decided that's it. Gonna look stupid now. Hello and welcome to Sam's Odd
I think
Wrestling.
we've passed that point on this channel, haven't we? Frankly.
This is our Educating Sam series because he's so young, our baby Sam. He hasn't
Increasingly less
seen
young.
a lot of wrestling and we need to educate him, but also sometimes it's nice to do a retrospective series on a certain wrestler or a thing or an event. We've done other things such as the XFL and the Diva Search, Christy Hemme and people like that, Bossman Nails. Go and watch our Educating series. They're a lovely little series where we talk about people's careers and backstage stuff and interesting things. It's not just what they did in the ring. You can probably watch some Netflix stuff for that. It's all about educating Sam so he knows a little bit more, so he can widen his knowledge because he keeps getting thrashed in Sam versus Sam.
Yeah, I do.
So, Sam, we are looking at a tag team.
Ah.
Our first tag team.
Will I know them?
No.
Oh, right.
But you might be able to guess them, so let's find out. So I'll give you a little bit of information. So first of all, one was born in 1953 and one was born in 1966.
Right, bit of an age gap. So I'm going to say they're like an 80s or 90s team.
90s team.
Oh, early, late?
Mainly early, but they pretty much did the whole 90s.
Oh, a tag team in the early 90s.
All the way to the end. They pretty much did the end, yeah.
What a foggy little area of time that is.
Yeah.
I've no idea. So.
Okay, I'll give you some. They are a one-time WCW tag team champions, but they are a four-time ECW tag team champions.
No clue, man.
We are looking at the Public Enemy.
You could have given me 50 guesses.
I knew you wouldn't know them, so
No.
let's find out about the Public Enemy. So the Public Enemy, first of all, it is Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge. Those are the names of our tag team.
Sure.
Public Enemy. So first of all, Rocky Rock is actually named Theodore James Petty. His name's Petty, which I think in WCW is going to come in handy really soon.
Yeah.
And with a guy called JPL, it's going to come in handy very soon. He was born September 1st, 1953 in New Jersey. And Johnny Grunge, that's his name, is Michael Lynn Durham. July 10th, 1966, 13-year gap between the two of them.
Where was he born?
He was in Peachtree Cities, Georgia. So very, contrasting things.
Places.
So these were a tag team, but they actually, first of all, they started off as Enemy. So Rocco Rock, he had a decent career before Public Enemy, because obviously he's a bit older. Even having a few bouts in WCW as, right, we're going to guess the name, right? What is a really early or late 80s name for a kind of jobberish character? It's an animal and then a suffix. So
it's an animal and a suffix.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what a suffix is, but could you explain
suffix
to the
is
viewers?
a word that comes afterwards. So
right.
for example,
right, okay.
you know.
So
dog for road dog is a suffix to road, for example.
Okay.
And the prefix would come beforehand. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go with Tiger Man.
So first of all, you are in the right animal kingdom.
The jungle.
It is a large cat.
Okay.
And man, not a man, what would someone be if they were younger?
A boy. Tiger boy. No, jungle boy. No, that's AW.
So, fast cat.
Fast cat.
Yeah, very fast cat.
Right, was he fast?
No, the name is a fast
No,
cat.
I'm saying, but was he fast?
No.
Oh, no, so the name is so cheetah.
He's a cheetah, and he's a young boy. So what would we call a young boy?
Child.
Another name for a child?
Infant.
He was the cheetah kid.
Oh, cheetah. Right, that makes more sense than infant.
So, in my head, he's a cheetah kid. I was just thinking he must have looked like Mel B out of the Spice Girls. And then he became the Executioner, which I swear every jobber has had a crack at some point,
Yeah.
being known the Executioner. Johnny was known as Johnny Rotten, which some would know is the lead singer of the Sex Pistols.
Wow. Fair.
But I don't know the Sex Pistols.
Neither
I
do
know
I.
Johnny Rotten from being on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and Butter Adverts.
I'm thinking of Robbie Rotten from the Spartacus from, the Lazy Town. Yeah. That's
No,
what
Johnny Rotten, not the same thing.
Oh, shame.
They wrestled each other a lot, even a dark match on Monday Night Raw. I have seen a lot of Monday Night Raw in 1993. I've seen the lighting. It's all dark matches.
Everything was a dark match then.
They made their debut at Ultra Clash in ECW under their new tag team name, The Public Enemy.
Right.
Which is a good name.
There's a band called Public Enemy. Yeah.
The name comes from a gangster film from 1931. I thought Paul Heyman was onto modern trends. That's why some people had mullets in the 90s, because Heyman was on top of it.
Just watching these old films.
The idea being is these are white men who love dancing and hip-hop culture. That's what it was.
I love that for them. That's
right?
great. Yeah.
So obviously they wore kind of the 90s hip-hop kind of stuff, your glasses and the shorts and that stuff. But let's be honest, Heyman can pretend that this was a more nuanced gimmick. These were white boy dancing. That was the gimmick, right? They had no rhythm.
Well, that's white boy dancing, isn't it?
And they did lots of fun arm waving. So I thought, Sam, we should do some fun arm.
Well, that's perfect. You've seen me dance.
I've seen you dance. There's a lot of that.
It was. I've adapted a little bit.
You used to do that.
That's my 18, 19-year-old.
Rude.
Well, yeah, it was kind of like a bit of this.
So let's do a bit of this.
Okay.
Completely out of sync with each other, so you need to go, no, just back and forth. This is all
sorry, I was improvising.
I'm saying this is all they've got.
Oh, right.
No. It's out of sync, Sam. We're going to be out of sync with each other. Not the arms out of sync. Me and you out of sync. Ironically, we were out of sync.
How weirdly we were.
Sam.
Yeah.
Early ECW, did this get over?
I'm going to go no.
Oh my God, it was so over.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Sam, this was the most overacted ECW.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said WCW.
No, ECW.
ECW don't make sense because they'll see the irony in it.
The white boy dancing gimmick worked alongside an amazing entrance song, which was Here Comes the Hot Stepper. Burn it up.
Back when they could get proper songs illegally instead of having to...
My next statement, Heyman obviously never paid for the songs. How did he get away with it?
Heyman
RVD came out to Pantera.
Yeah, he has got away with words, that man.
With there being matches filled with lots of gimmicks and weapons, tables especially, and this brawling style that hadn't quite took off yet. This is early ECW, remember? So you could argue Public Enemy were kind of ahead of their time. They were the ones doing the table spots and all the kind of garbage wrestling. They won their first ECW Tag Team Championships and engaged in a feud with the Gangsters. Can you remember which wrestler, probably our most favourite wrestler that me and you have is in the Gangsters?
Well, it's not Kurt Angle, is it?
No, when I'm saying favourite, I mean very sarcastic. He is not one of our favourites.
So early 90s, well, it's not Mabel, is it? Who is it?
Who was one of the worst human beings who's ever been in wrestling?
Well, it's not Hulk Hogan.
New Jack.
Oh, no. Oh, New Jack. I was going to go Nails, but New Jack. Jesus Christ.
So, yeah, but, these clashes they were heavily praised and, they're great for culture wars and all that jazz, but that's as much praise as I'm going to give New Jack, so there we go. They were part of, and this is the thing, Sam, you might not know anything about them, but I reckon you've seen stuff where they were involved in.
I could have been.
This is the funny thing is, I bet I'm going to name two moments that I'm pretty certain you know about. They were part of a very infamous scene. So they took on Funk and Cactus. So they were and they were in the ring. Public Enemy are attacking, and Funk asked a fan for a chair. And
no.
And the crowd proceed to throw all the chairs in the ring. It was like watching school children clean a classroom on a Friday at 2:55.
Oh, my word.
Public Enemy were the ones who actually were buried under the chair. So fair play to them, because I would have been scared out of my mind. So that moment you've seen where all the chairs go in the ring,
that's Public Enemy.
That's Public Enemy are underneath the chairs after Funk's asking for it.
That's rough, that. I've seen it.
Yeah, I told you. It's
many
really
times.
Famous. How about this famous one? They were part of another famous one where, and I think this is them leaving, I think. So they are dancing in the ring, and they invite fans to join them into the ring.
Always involve fans.
And this is like a goodbye dance, like sort of thing. And save the last dance for me, a bit of that. And hundreds of fans enter the ring. Cheap ring.
Collapses.
It's the ring that collapses. That's Public Enemy.
No.
So these famous ECW clips you've probably seen, which seem really old and gaudy and not cameras great, it's because it's early ECW and it's the Public Enemy. That's how over they were. They created those moments.
Wow.
There you go, Sam.
Wow.
So safe to say, Public Enemy in those 2 years of ECW were mega. Paul Heyman, hide the negatives. Accentuate the positives. They were not good wrestlers, Sam. They were garbage wrestlers.
Don't need to be if
who were doing
each other with,
white boy dancing, and it was just hot as anything. So in 1995, they had a tryout with WWF and were offered a contract because it's 1995.
Of course.
But WCW offered them a contract as well.
And it's going to be more of this.
And they decided to go there instead. I wonder how Bradshaw is going to think about that. Maybe we'll get to him later on.
No.
So they made their WCW beginnings, happened in 1996, and they did the exact same stuff as they did in ECW. The arm waving, carrying tables, etc. But a few things got in their way. Firstly, WCW people didn't watch ECW.
Very different audience, isn't it?
Especially not in 1994.
Yeah.
So no one knew who they were. And secondly, and this is arguably probably more of a thing, and everyone forgets about this, WCW PG. Kind of always has been, really. and them doing their garbage, blood and all that jazz is just not going to fly.
Well, how many stories do we hear of ECW people failing in WCW?
So many.
How did they not learn the lesson?
Yeah, they just,
Show was so different, but yeah, carry
But
on.
these were probably the first ones who kind of came over before your Jerichos and Benoits and all that all that sort of lot. So, them trying to do their hardcore style in a PG was like watching WWE do hardcore in 2015. It's just lots of chair shots to the back, soft through a table. Yeah. It just didn't work. Like they won matches. They even won the WCW Championship for a cup of coffee. Sam, let's play. How long did they have the WCW Championships?
Oh, it's Russo, isn't it? No, he's a WWE, so it's not him, but it's still
96. So they do respect the championships.
I'm gonna say 6 days. They won it like a Monday Night Show and lost it on a pay-per-view.
Oh, I like your thought process. You went the wrong way round.
So it's one day.
Yes, no. Won it on a Sunday. Lost it the week after.
So was it 8?
8 days, but the NWO were running wild at the time.
Of course.
Public Enemy. It's not going to translate. It's not going to have the same success. So, bye-bye WCW. Hello ECW! Back we go. They challenged the Dudleys in an open challenge, which, while still contracted to WCW.
Of course, that's classic ECW.
What were you going to say?
Were they the tag team that famously kicked out the 3D?
No, I don't think they were.
Was that a different one?
I don't think they were. Okay. Johnny Grunge grabbed the microphone and claimed that the past 3 years had been a roller coaster ride for the team, not doing anything in WCW. And then if you open up our chest and look into our hearts, the one thing that'll be stamped on it, and that's ECW. They leave. So Grunge further thanked the Dudleys for house sitting. The house that Public Enemy built. Not quite as cool as when AJ Styles said it. No. But cooler than Paige.
Oh, yeah. This is my house.
So I'm going to go with them in terms of people who've built houses.
They're middle of the road.
They could be the middle.
If you're going for really good houses, like development houses, you go AJ all the way. But if you're going really cheap and cheerful, she's got some really bad reviews. She's got some structurally really flawed housing that is dodgy. But they'll do a solid job, but it's not going to look nice.
So their hearts stamped ECW.
That's great.
Stamped ECW, and they were going to face the Dudleys for the championship, but cancelled because they were negotiating with WWF. They are the epitome of promotion whores.
Yeah, but you know what? I get it, because I bet ECW wasn't paying them much money.
No, I doubt it. But did anyone move as much as these guys? These are
journeymen.
We've gone ECW, WCW, ECW, WWF. It's ridiculous, right? So ECW buried them on TV.
Fair enough.
Saying they were cowards.
Dog eat dog.
And then they showed old footage from a house show of the Dudleys hitting big moves on them and saying they destroyed Public Enemy. Wow. Unrelated note, the Dudleys signed with the WWF 6 months later.
There you go.
Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous, isn't it? So now, Sam, we're in the WWF. And it's the 90s, and it's now the late 90s. And, WWF in 98... really welcoming and
absolutely,
really lovely place.
A very politically correct environment.
Good for newcomers, open arms. They just accept everybody in. Yeah, they were not accepted backstage by everyone. Really, mainly because they chose to sign with WCW first over WWF. That was the main reason. I'm like, come on, it's a job. It's money.
It is weird.
They're here now
because it's at the end of the day, it's your profession. And ECW weren't paying them any money, and they had no better guarantee they'd be successful in WWE. Why should they have loyalty to you? They didn't know you.
And we're just guessing, because I actually couldn't find out who offered them more contracts. You can't find that sort of that. But I'm just going to assume that WWF in 95 is not offering more money than not brilliant, but probably got some turner money. WCW.
Also, WCW didn't know what they were doing, so they were ready to offer Bret Hart 10 million just because.
Now, you got to remember there's a lot of toing and froing here, but we're now getting to the stage where Hogan's mates are coming over and stuff. So, I'm bleeding. It must be a grudge. It's Public Enemy.
Are you John Moxley? This video is busted open.
I busted it open from Public Enemy.
Oh, so.
Genuinely side bleeding, but I can't show that. I can't show blood.
No.
But so I just don't get it. I have to admit, it really confused me. And there's a few other things that happened as well. Rocco Rock had to change his name so no one got him confused with The Rock.
Of course.
I'm always getting Dr. Death Steve Williams confused with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Absolutely.
Every time I watched Raw at night, I got so confused. The Glass Shadow went, Steve Williams! Oh, no, it's not.
It's why I had to remove Austin from Theory's name.
Exactly.
You just think he's going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Every single time.
Too close. They're so similar looking.
So let's now play What Did He Get Called?
Oh, blimey. Right. Were they going with the same type of gimmick?
So they were still the Public Enemy, hip-hop, bull, rubbish crap. What do you reckon they went with? I'm actually so bleeding.
Are you really?
I think I jabbed myself with my nail.
Oh my word. Let's go with Potty to Watty.
I love it.
Yes.
He was known as Flyboy Rocco. Rock is still in the name! Sam, let's play higher or lower.
Oh, I love higher or lower.
Because we did it with the championship, but let's actually play the game, all right? I want to know how long were they in WWF for, okay?
Ooh.
We'll play higher and lower. See how many guesses you can get to the correct number.
Okay, so I'm going to go, first guess, 3 months.
Okay, so let's turn that into weeks to make life easier.
Oh.
12 weeks. Okay. Lower.
6 weeks.
Higher.
Oh, okay, nice. I'm going to go 9 weeks.
Lower.
8 weeks.
They lasted a whole 2 months in the WWF. They achieved very little, but they are very famous for one tag team match against... Take a wild guess. I've mentioned his name a few times.
Oh, no.
And he's not a great human being.
Is it all APA?
But they had a match with the Acolytes. So, JBL, as requested, I'll talk about JBL. So they had a match on Heat. It wasn't even on Raw. And Public Enemy wanted to change the finish.
Oh, no.
And when I say change the finish, I mean they're like going out type thing. And the match was about being driven through tables by the APA in a kind of squash match. And essentially management were like really angry with this and told them like to JBL and Farouk, go beat them up.
And I bet Bradshaw was like, no, this is my I cannot take advantage of my colleagues that are putting their trust in me. Of course.
So they literally had a 4-minute squash and it was no DQ.
It's like down on Feud or Rumble, is it?
Oh, it's worse because it's no
Really?
DQ. They are literally flinging chair shots. They have steps. There's tables. It's really, really... You can find this. It's online.
Clarify to me, sorry, the problem with the finish. So it was supposed to be them getting put through tables.
And they wanted to change that, yeah.
And
I think they might have been worried that it was their gimmick and then going through a table on a kind of nothing thing wasn't...
So they wanted it to be no aperture to clean before they were still happy to lose.
I don't know what they wanted to change it to.
Okay.
But they were essentially trying to get away from that. And they just got beaten up. Like, it's really... I'll point out that they were... it's unprofessional to try and get the finish changed last minute.
It's more unprofessional.
But yeah,
to do this.
But they also shook everyone's hand and thanks everyone for the match afterwards. So they did.
So
they still showed something. They, along with 4 or 5 other wrestlers, left weeks after this.
Yeah. Well, also, there's been unprofessional, but ultimately, I don't think it's that unprofessional to have a creative difference and try and get something done behind the scenes. As long as you're willing to say, okay, I've made my case, you're going to disagree with me and do it. How unprofessional really is it to just have a different idea for reasons? If they're still willing to lose, I don't know if they were.
They were meant to lose. I don't get it. It just showed you that they were bitter the entire... Why sign them then if you're bitter?
I know.
Why sign them if you... Vince was weird when he signed people because he didn't like them. He didn't want to put them over, but went, I can make a little bit of money off you, maybe.
Yeah.
And it was weird, like, if you could make more money if you produce them, like DDP. Put him in the main event, you probably could have made loads of money. No, let's have a job to The Undertaker. Sam, they leave WWF. Where did they go?
ECW.
No, they went to WCW.
Oh, it's close. 1 letter off.
Sam, let's play higher or lower. How many weeks did they last in WCW?
What year is this now?
We're just after 98. I think we're in 98.
Oh, 5 weeks.
On the dot!
Hey! I just purely, you know what, the thought process in my brain was immaculate there. It just worked. 5 weeks.
Bar being squashed by Goldberg, they did nothing. So where did they go after they left?
ECW, back home, where the heart lies.
Where they're stamped by a JBL boot.
Yeah.
They only made 1 appearance, and they were never seen on mainstream television again.
Oh.
Going off to the independent scene, their last match together being August 2002.
Okay.
Sadly, both wrestlers have now actually passed. Not long after this, Rocco Rock, so Ted Paddy, died September 21st, 2002.
Oh, wow.
Only a month after their last ever match together. Had a heart attack at the age of 49. But what makes it interesting is his family said he never used drugs and heart defects ran in the family.
Oh, really?
So it really was from
the Brody Lee thing.
Very similar. So if we just believe that. So in a touching tribute, a promotion in Mid-South ran the Ted Petty tournament, which is really nice. And then Johnny Grunge died 4 years later, in February 16th, 2006, at the age of 39. So Rocco Rock was 49, he was 39, as a result of sleep apnea complications, most likely caused by a coronary heart blockage and obesity by this point.
Right.
The autopsy report showed he had soma pills and opioids in his system.
Right.
Grunge's wife has since become an advocate for drugs after finding out later her husband's pills were from the same place of where?
The same place.
Where did he get his pills from?
Oh, same kind of...
The pharmacy scandal.
This
pharmacy scandal. Same place as Chris Benoit.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't bring him up, but Grunge was Benoit's neighbour.
Oh,
and helped him, and apparently helped him through after Eddie died. So remember,
and he died in 2006.
So this is now a year. Benoit died a year, 18 months after this.
Oh, chills.
It's weird, isn't it?
So maybe if this wrestler that we hadn't even heard of hadn't...
you hadn't heard of, but I knew. But Grunge.
No,
I didn't
most wrestling fans probably haven't heard of him.
Who knew how much he...
How important he could have been. Maybe he could have at least staved off the Benoit tragedy, could have helped. Or
who knows?
You never know. Wow.
Yeah. So Sam, that is Public Enemy, a tag team ahead of their time. If you think about what ECW and the hardcore WWF had become, so got a gimmick over by doing something very simple, but just didn't quite translate to the big promotions. But the chair spots with the chairs going in the ring and the collapsing ring, I think will last forever. What do you think now you know a little bit about Public Enemy and moments you've seen before?
What did they look like? Were they quite like ECW? You can imagine like in a Sandman build.
You were talking slightly chunkier wrestlers. Yeah. Wearing kind of overshirts and shorts, kind of dreads, hat, glasses. Think like a slightly overweight sort of Scottish and Grandmaster Sexy look. I'm kind of almost might have stolen the gimmick in a weird way. Very, I would say it's argued the same gimmick. And they did it 5 years earlier. So
interesting. I think because most wrestling fans just naturally will watch your mainstream stuff of guys that are really big. And usually if you're a wrestler that we've heard of, you have had incredible success. I feel like it's easy to look down on people who haven't had the level of success that we're accustomed to. But actually, if you look at that as two blokes, the experiences that they've had, the things that they got to do, whilst not being necessarily incredible, but the career they've had is actually really kind of cool, despite obviously being up by JBL.
They will go down in ECW history because they're probably one of the reasons ECW kind of slightly took off to an extent. And they were good enough, so much so that WCW and WWF wanted them multiple times.
Compared to things like, the Diva Search and stuff that you've inevitably put me through as an education, let's be frank. No, I actually quite enjoyed learning about them. I think I like little underdog stories and unsung heroes. And I think that's kind of cool that they got to do that, and really sad that obviously they passed a far too familiar story in wrestling.
Very much so.
Regardless of the reasons.
Particularly ECW, especially. Yeah. So I think for us to end, thank you very much for joining us. Who would you like me to educate Baby Sam on next? I do have a little list, but I'm always willing to see if you reckon who he might not know about, who maybe have an interesting backstory or interesting career that CM might not know about. And also you'd like to see a retrospective done by me, because I like to find out little things that you might not know about and stuff like that. But I think as a send-off, I think we should do a nice Public Enemy kind of wave completely out of tune. Back and forth. That's not how it was, Sam.
I don't know what you want from me.
What copy? Mimic,
I've not seen it, but you wanted me to do it out of tune.
I want you to mimic. What's this?
Because I was doing my white boy dancing.
But I'm not doing that.
But Sam, at a nightclub, we would never do the same dance. I'd kind of go a bit like this.
But we're a tag team, not in the nightclub.
Okay, fine. Right.
Bring on the hot stepper.
Yeah.